would also like to remind you that when we had bad times here, the club stood by me, all my staff stood by me, the players stood by me. Your job now is to stand by our new manager.
These were the famous words of Sir Alex Ferguson during his farewell speech in 2013. After 26 years of serving the Red Devils, Ferguson had finally called time on his tenure at the club. He nominated Everton's David Moyes as his successor. Fergie's suggestion gave Moyes the title of the Chosen One, even though the former Everton manager was not a popular choice among the fan base. He received initial support due to Fergie's words. In this video, we'll unpack the David Moyes era at Manchester United and how the club fell into turmoil immediately after Sir Alex's retirement. David Moyes' tenure at Manchester United stands as one of the most disastrous managerial reigns in football history, a period that saw the reigning Premier League champions plummet into mediocrity. Handpicked by Sir Alex Ferguson as his successor, Moyes inherited a squad that had just dominated English football. Yet within months, United looked unrecognizable. Tactical confusion, poor man management, disastrous transfers, and embarrassing defeats became the new norm. Once feared, Old Trafford became a hunting ground for mid-table teams. Dressing room unrest, fan protests, and public embarrassments piled up as Moyes lost control of the squad, and the club spiraled into crisis. What was meant to be a smooth transition after Ferguson's legendary reign instead turned into a catastrophic downfall, leaving Manchester United in turmoil for years to come. This is the story of how what used to be the greatest club in England slowly turned into perhaps the most disappointed club in England in the span of 10 months at the hands of just one person. In May 2013, following Sir Alex Ferguson's retirement after a legendary tenure, Manchester United appointed David Moyes as the manager on a 6-year contract. Moyes expressed his honor at being chosen and acknowledged the challenge of succeeding the most successful manager in football history. He pledged to continue United's tradition of success and was eager to begin his tenure on July 1, 2013. Under the Glazer family's ownership, Manchester United maintained financial stability, leveraging their global brand to generate substantial revenue. The Glazers fully supported Ferguson's recommendation of Moyes, viewing him as a long-term successor capable of upholding the club's values and success. Co-chairman Joel and Avram Glazer expressed confidence in Moyes' hard-working style and determination, believing that he would continue the club's tradition of flair football and success. Fans and media, however, had mixed reactions to Moyes' appointment. Many supporters trusted Ferguson's judgment, adopting a hopeful yet cautious optimism. The media highlighted Moyes' lack of experience managing at a top club and his absence of major trophies, leading to debates about his suitability. A prominent banner at Old Trafford labeled him as the Chosen One, symbolizing the hope placed in him, but later becoming a focal point of criticism as the season would progress. Upon assuming control, Moyes implemented significant changes to the coaching staff. He replaced long-serving assistants like Mike Phelan and Rene Meulensteen with his own team from Everton, including Steve Round as assistant manager, Jimmy Lumsden as coach, and Chris Woods as goalkeeping coach. This overhaul aimed to establish his authority, but disrupted established routines, leading to unease among players accustomed to the previous regime. The summer transfer window under Moyes was troublesome. Moyes saw Toni Kroos as a key midfielder to replace Paul Scholes, appreciating his vision and passing, and reportedly had a verbal agreement with him, but his sacking ended the deal. The club also pursued Thiago Alcantara, but failed to secure his signature. On deadline day, United signed Marouane Fellaini from Everton for £27.5 million, a move criticized for its inflated fee and perceived lack of strategic planning. Fans were frustrated by the club's instability to attract top talent, viewing the window as mismanaged and indicative of deeper issues within the club's hierarchy. Despite the off-field challenges, Moyes began his tenure with a 2-0 victory over Wigan Athletic in the Community Shield, securing his first and only trophy with United. The win provided a brief respite and a glimmer of hope for supporters. However, the media remained skeptical, viewing the victory as a minor achievement and questioning whether it signified genuine potential for sustained success under Moyes' leadership. Moyes' tactical approach faced significant criticism. His strategies were often labeled as cautious and uninspired, a stark contrast to the attacking flair synonymous with United under Ferguson. Players reportedly struggled to adapt to Moyes' methods, leading to disjointed performances on the pitch. A lack of cohesion and clear tactical direction resulted in underwhelming results, fueling dissatisfaction amongst both players and fans. Throughout the season, United suffered several embarrassing defeats, notably a 4-1 loss to Manchester City and a 3-0 home defeat to Liverpool highlighted the team's struggles against key rivals. Additionally, a 2-1 loss to Swansea City in the FA Cup third round marked United's earliest exit from the competition in over 3 decades. These defeats not only dented the team's confidence, but also intensified scrutiny of Moyes' capabilities. Reports of dressing room unrest emerged, with senior players expressing discontent. Rio Ferdinand and Nemanja Vidic were reportedly critical of Moyes' training methods and tactical approach. Patrice Evra and Ryan Giggs allegedly questioned the manager's suitability for the role, while Robin van Persie expressed frustration over the team's direction and his own form. The internal discord going on undermined team morale and cohesion, contributing to inconsistent performances. Moyes' public statements occasionally exacerbated tensions. He referred to Manchester City as the benchmark, a comment that irked fans proud of United's superior history. Additionally, his admission that United needed to improve in a lot of areas was perceived as negative and defeatist, further alienating supporters and fueling media criticism. The FA Cup elimination at the hands of Swansea City was a significant low point. The third-round exit was United's earliest since 1984, excluding 2009, leading to widespread media criticism and fan outrage. The defeat intensified calls for Moyes' dismissal and highlighted the team's alarming decline under his management. In the January transfer window, Moyes signed Juan Mata from Chelsea for a then-club record fee of £37.1 million. Mata's arrival aimed to inject creativity into United's midfield and to rejuvenate the squad. While he contributed with goals and assists, his impact was insufficient to reverse the team's fortunes. Fans viewed the signing as a positive step, but questioned the lack of additional reinforcements, especially in defensive positions. Fan unrest grew as the season progressed. Protests included banners calling for Moyes' sacking and a plane flying over Old Trafford trailing a "wrong one, Moyes out" message. Media campaigns criticized the club's decline, and discussions about Moyes' future became increasingly prevalent. The palpable discontent among the fan base and the media added pressure on the club hierarchy to take decisive action. The League Cup elimination by Sunderland in the semi-finals, decided by a penalty shootout, was another blow. The loss denied United a chance at domestic silverware and further exemplified the team's struggles in crucial matches. Fans and media criticized the team's inability to finish off games decisively, highlighting tactical naivety and a lack of confidence under Moyes' leadership. The semi-final defeat also symbolized a missed opportunity to salvage a disappointing season, with at least one domestic trophy. It intensified the scrutiny on Moyes' suitability for the job and amplified fans' frustrations. As the season wore on, reports of strained relationships between Moyes and his players continued to surface. Senior figures such as Rio Ferdinand and Nemanja Vidic were reportedly disillusioned with his training methods, finding them to be overly rigid and uninspiring compared to Ferguson's more dynamic approach. Patrice Evra was also rumored to be unhappy with Moyes' tactical limitations. Meanwhile, Ryan Giggs, who was both a player and a part of the coaching staff, allegedly grew frustrated with the manager's reluctance to seek his input, leading to an awkward dynamic within the backroom team. Robin van Persie publicly voiced concerns over teammates occupying his space on the pitch, which was interpreted as a subtle criticism of Moyes' tactical setup. This growing discontent signaled a fractured dressing room and diminished squad morale, further complicating Moyes' challenges. The January signing of Juan Mata failed to spark the anticipated revival. Despite showing flashes of creativity and technical brilliance, Mata struggled to fully integrate into Moyes' system, which often lacked fluidity and cohesion. United's lack of consistent width and pace meant Mata was frequently isolated, limiting his effectiveness. Additionally, the absence of defensive reinforcements proved to be costly, as that meant that the backline continued to struggle with injuries and forms, exacerbating the team's vulnerabilities. Fans did appreciate Mata's quality, but remained critical of Moyes due to his inability to address other pressing squad issues. Tensions between Moyes and the Glazer family grew as United's dismal form persisted. The Glazers had initially supported Moyes, influenced by Ferguson's endorsement and the belief that he could maintain continuity. However, as it became clear that United would fail to secure Champions League qualification for the first time in over 2 decades, their patience waned. The club's poor performances had financial implications, including the risk of losing lucrative sponsorship deals tied to Champions League participation. Reports suggested that the Glazers were increasingly concerned about Moyes' inability to inspire the team and questioned his suitability as Ferguson's successor. United's Champions League campaign offered brief respite, but ultimately ended in disappointment. After a hard-fought victory over Olympiacos in the round of 16, United were eliminated by Bayern Munich in the quarter-finals, losing 4-2 on aggregate. Despite showing some resilience, the tactical gulf between the teams was very apparent. Moyes' conservative approach in the first leg, opting for a defensive setup at Old Trafford, drew criticism for lacking ambition. In the second leg, although United took a surprise lead, they were swiftly outclassed by Bayern's superior quality. The elimination effectively ended any hopes of salvaging the season. In the final weeks of his tenure, Moyes appeared increasingly isolated and under immense pressure. United's 2-0 defeat to Everton on April 20, 2014 mathematically confirmed that they would not qualify for the Champions League. Ironically, it was Moyes' former club that delivered the final blow. During post-match interviews, Moyes defended his work ethic and insisted that he was laying foundations for future success, but his words did little to convince fans or the board. Reports surfaced that senior players had lost faith in his leadership, and dressing room leaks painted a picture of a demoralized squad. It was widely believed that Moyes was unaware that his position was untenable, but remained defiant till the end. Manchester United finished the 2013-14 season in 7th place, their lowest league position since 1990. The campaign was marred by a series of embarrassing results, including defeats to rivals Manchester City and Liverpool, and shocking losses to lower-ranked teams such as West Bromwich Albion and Sunderland. United also only secured a single victory against any of the teams in the top 4. The media branded the season as a disaster, while fans expressed disbelief at the rapid decline from champions to mid-table mediocrity. The overwhelming sentiment was that Moyes was out of his depth, and his tactics were consistently criticized as outdated and overly cautious. The sacking of David Moyes was officially announced on April 22, 2014, just 10 months into his 6-year contract. The decision was communicated by Vice Chairman Ed Woodward, who informed Moyes at the club's Carrington training ground. Reactions were mixed. Fans largely welcomed the news, viewing it as a necessary step to prevent further decline. Some even felt sympathy, acknowledging the magnitude of the task that Moyes had inherited, but ultimately agreed that he was not the right fit. Players were reportedly relieved, with a sense of renewed optimism under interim manager Ryan Giggs. The Glazers accepted responsibility for the failed appointment, admitting privately that Ferguson's influence had overly swayed their decision. The media was generally very critical of the club's handling of the sacking, particularly because the news of Moyes' imminent departure had been leaked the day before the official announcement. The fallout from the Moyes era had long-lasting repercussions. Manchester United's aura of invincibility was shattered, and the club embarked on a costly rebuilding phase. Moyes' tenure became a cautionary tale about the dangers of transition after a legendary manager, proving that blind faith in a successor isn't enough. Fans were told to trust the process, but instead, they witnessed a historic decline. His reign highlighted the challenges of succession, planning, and the importance of appointing a manager who truly fits the club's identity and ambitions. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Manchester United's downfall under David Moyes, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more in-depth football content. Was Moyes a fair shot, or was trusting the process never really an option for him? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And make sure you check out our Patreon, which is linked in the description below. I'll see you in the next one.